Good morning, MegaPodlings. I'm at the AMC Theater. I'm going to go see Happytime Murders again. As you know, if you've been watching my videos, I saw it the other day with Cinema Sickness and Cinema Man. But I'm going again because MoviePass is junk. MoviePass is pretty much useless now. So I decided to sign up for the AMC A-List. And I want to give it a try. As I joined last night and I want to see how their service goes, so I'm coming back to see Happytime Murders a second time. So let's check it out. All right, let's talk about Happytime Murders. I've seen the movie twice, and whenever I shoot here, I always wonder: is it too bright? Is there too much of a glare on my head? I really don't know. I do look very, very bright. Looking at myself in the camera right now, but I've seen Happytime Murders twice. I've seen it twice in part because I really liked it. I've seen it twice in part because I want to throw my support, my financial support, behind Brian Henson and the people at Henson Alternative. And I also saw it twice because I really wanted to test out the AMC A-List program that I just signed up for. I should be straightforward and say I've never been a huge fan of AMC theaters. AMC is probably my least favorite theater chain. But the deal they're offering for the AMC A-List is just too good to pass up, especially with MoviePass dying. MoviePass is not officially dead yet, but it's so hard to use, it may as well be. As an annual holder, I've already gotten my money's worth. I spent $80 in January. They charged me in January. It's due to renew on January 5th. And up till now, a lot of the changes they've made, they made it so that you couldn't see as many movies as you want anymore. You can only see 3 movies a month. And at first they said annual subscribers are immune. This is only for the monthly subscribers. Then Friday, we annual subscribers got a note saying, no, it's you too now. Alright, so I'm still going to use my MoviePass because not everything I want to see is going to be playing in an AMC, so I can see whatever the heck I want in an AMC pretty much any time I want. And if there's that 1 or 2 movies that's not playing in an AMC, I got my MoviePass. So I'm covered to January, but in January I will not be renewing MoviePass. So that is the other reason I went a second time to see Happytime Murders, is I just wanted to test out the new A-List, see how it works. And I was fairly pleased. So let's talk about the movie. I know I said go see it in yesterday's video, but I didn't really get into details, and I kind of want to get a little more into details. First of all, the critics are just tearing this movie apart. They are panning it and saying, oh, worst movie of the year. I always say, don't listen to critics. Make up your own mind. Critics aren't always right. There was a movie in 1989 that the critics weren't too kind to. In fact, they tore it apart, said it's awful, one of the worst movies of the year, not funny at all. That movie is now a cult classic, UHF. That is my signed UHF poster, signed by John Paragon and Weird Al Yankovic. And where did he sign it? Geddy Watanabe. So this movie is considered a cult classic now, and people often say, how come Weird Al Yankovic never made another movie? That's so funny. Why didn't he make another movie? Oh, there's Geddy Watanabe there. You're so stupid! Well, anyway, he never made another movie because nobody went to see this one. And now people look back on it and they're like, that's a classic. There you go. So don't listen to the critics. If you didn't listen to the critics in 1989, we might have gotten more movies with Weird Al Yankovic and everyone would have been happier. But the critics don't always speak to your tastes, and the only way to know what speaks to your tastes is to watch the movie. So I say, if you are a fan of the Henson Company, if you're a fan of puppetry, go see Happytime Murders. I think it's hysterical. It's one of the criticisms that has been thrown at this movie is that it's shock value. Oh, it's just puppets saying dirty things, using profanity. That's the whole joke. Too much of that. They relied on that as a crutch. I've heard that complaint, and you know what? I'm not going to lie. That's a little bit true. It's a little bit true. But I feel that was kind of necessary. And let me explain why. puppetry has always been pigeonholed as children's entertainment. This is something that Brian Henson has been kind of fighting against his entire career, and it's something his father wanted to fight against. Sesame Street was a children's show, and it was so successful that forevermore the Henson Company kind of got branded as children's entertainment. Jim Henson did the Muppet Show to reach the adults. That's who the Muppet Show was for. It was for adults. Now, it wasn't dirty. It wasn't inappropriate for children. But it was one of those things that, the entire family could watch. But the parents were going to get things out of it the kids weren't, because the humor was just a little bit higher level. Sesame Street was a kids show. No doubt about it. The Muppet Show was not intended for kids. Now, we've been seeing this for a while, this whole thing, the whole puppets are for children thing. If you look at what happened in 2015 with ABC's The Muppets, a big deal was made over the fact that it was going to be The Muppets for adults. And people freaked out and were like, that is so inappropriate. Jim Henson would be appalled. No, that's how Jim Henson always saw The Muppets. The Muppet Show was supposed to be The Muppets for adults. That was always the case, and people really never understood that. So that is what Brian Henson is trying to do with the Henson Alternative brand, or HA exclamation point is their logo. He's trying to show not all puppetry is for children. Well, when there's such a stigma that this is children's entertainment, how do you break through that stigma? He made the filthiest movie he possibly could, because he had to shatter that, proverbial glass ceiling and let you see, hey, this isn't for kids. This isn't for kids. And the only way to really, really, really drive that point home was to shake the audience. And once that has been done, once that message has been received, then you can go a little more subtle. Like, if he makes another movie now, it doesn't have to be that over the top, because he's delivered that message that this is not for children. It's no different than what you saw in animation with South Park 20 years ago, where it was just so outrageous. There was a time when cartoons are for kids. Cartoons are kids stuff. Now, nobody says that anymore, because you had shows like The Simpsons a little bit, and then South Park exploded and was like, if The Simpsons chipped away at that, South Park exploded it, and then you get stuff like Sausage Party today. So I think, he kind of had to go that route to drive the message home. But the movie is more than just that. It's got messages about racism in there. It's got some really, really funny humor. And above all, it's got really good puppeteering by some of the best puppeteers in the business. Kevin Clash from Sesame Street. He was Elmo for years. He's been out of the puppet game due to some unfortunate allegations that were made towards him that weren't even true. And he was forced to resign from Sesame Street. And it's a shame, because it wasn't even true what they said about him. But he's one of the best puppeteers around, and he's been out of the puppet game for several years. He's back in this movie, and he's one of the best. And then you've got Bill Barretta, who's Pepe the Prawn and Bobo the Bear on the Muppets, and he's the main character, Phil, and he is great. Drew Massey, who performed on Greg the Bunny. He was Count Blah on Greg the Bunny. And there's another one, Greg the Bunny. There's a show that was not for kids, and this just goes to show you how I say there's a stigma. That show was not a kids show, and that was about a decade ago. That was early 2000s, Greg the Bunny. Yet that stigma that puppets are for kids still remains. So even though we've had entertainment with puppets that isn't for children, the stigma has not yet been broken. You could say, well, what about Meet the Feebles? But how many people do you know saw Meet the Feebles? Meet the Feebles is a cult classic. I've seen Meet the Feebles. I like Meet the Feebles. But the average guy on the street hasn't seen Meet the Feebles. That is a cult film, if ever there was one. So, I don't know. I feel like I've been going on a rant here. But my feeling is, if you like puppetry, if you like Brian Henson, if you want to see more puppets in there, let me tell you something. Muppets Most Wanted, tremendous movie, didn't perform at the box office. Muppets Most Wanted was not a hit, and that was what, 2014? I think that was 2014. The movie wasn't a hit. We haven't seen another Muppet movie since. About a year later, the Muppets came to television with The Muppets, the 2015 ABC show. That show was not a ratings hit, and it got canceled. If this movie fails at the box office, and make no mistake, it is. As of this week, it's failing at the box office. It did not have a good opening weekend. We're sending a message to Hollywood that puppets don't sell. That's the message. That's the message being sent. Puppets don't sell. So if you love puppets and you love puppetry and you like the work that Brian Henson and the Henson Company do, go out and support this movie with your dollars. Just don't wait for it to go streaming. Don't wait for DVD. Pay to see this movie. Sorry, that's the puppet lover in me who really, really wants to see more puppetry, quite frankly. And we're not going to get it if every puppet project that hits TV or the movies doesn't perform. I've ranted way too long. Keep wearing those pajamas and go see Happytime Murders.